Basic communication skills, part two. This section will be going over reading and writing. The objective of this section is to describe good reading and writing skills and their relationship to job performance. And this will be done by describing the importance of good reading and writing skills, describe job-related reading requirements, and identify good reading skills. And lastly, to describe job-related writing requirements and identify good writing skills. And the job performance that we're going to be looking at, we're going to be filling out job-related form provided by me, and so you can be able to read and interpret the different things. Some of the terms we're going to be going over is like permits, change orders, table of contents, index, and glossary. These are terms that's used, permits, when you in codes and doing inspections on houses and things. So, but a permit is a legal document that allows a task to be undertaken, such as electrical work or plumbing work or carpentry in a house or a building. Change orders is a written order by the owner of a project for the contractor to make a change in the time or amount or even the specifications. In other words, when there's something being changed on that job from the specifications, it need to be documented. And that's what the change orders will do. Table of contents. Table of contents in books or is a list of the different chapters and the sections inside of a book, such as a code book. You'll have a table of contents that will explain all the different parts of the building codes. Index is an alphabetical list of topics along with the page numbers where each topic appears. The glossaries basically will give you the terms and definitions of terms. Indexes, the source of details or specific information placed at the end of a section or a chapter or a book. Tables are a way to present information in text or in numbers so that they can be read and understood at a glance. So in other words, tables are something that is organized in a way to be able to see something really quickly and find information. Graph is information shown in like a pictorial, a picture or a chart. Graphs may be represented in various forms, including line graphs or bar graphs or circle graphs. A font is just a style of a letter or a number. It's the style of different numbers or letters. Italics is when the letters or the numbers that leans to the right rather than stand straight up. A punch list is no more than a list of things that need to be corrected on a job site. So in other words, a punch list can be, we need to repair this, we need to paint that, we need to finish these tasks. So that's what we call a punch list. Memos is informational written correspondence, another term for memorandum. So that's what memos are. It's just a shortened term of memorandum. Bullets or bullet points. It's large vertically aligned dots that highlight items in a list. And electronic signatures. Electronic signatures are signatures that are used to sign electronic documents by capturing handwritten signatures through computer technology and attaching them to the document on file. Alrighty, importance of reading and writing. Again, in the construction business, we do a lot of reading because number one, we need to know how things are put together. We read blueprints, we read code books, we read all this literature from manufacturers so we know how things are supposed to work and how we put it together and how the warranties and things like that. So we're on top of that. So we are educated, skilled workers that that read things and be able to translate that information into knowledge. So reading on the job. Other examples of many things that you need to read on the job include safety instruction guidelines, drawings, specifications, manufacturers, instructions, signs and labels, work orders, schedules, various types of permits, um, written communication, and other forms such as emails and text messages are things that we daily will go through. So, finding information, you need to know how most things are put together, like code books or any type of book, really. We have things like the table of contents, indexes, the glossary, the appendix, and tables and graphs and charts. All those things is there for a reason, and it will be listed out. So, table of contents is really something that is really broad. It just tell you basically the broad headings in the book. Index is very specific. Index will break things down into very specific areas, and usually it will give you where it is located. The glossary, this words that you may not know or understand, the glossary will explain those terms to you. Appendix is maybe just something that might be added to give you clarity of something. And so index, I'm not index, but appendix is it might be a document that you can go through, and they just put it in the back of the chapter or the back of the book, that document that you may be able to use. And so tables and graphs again is like some type of formatted uh, charts that can be with information in it that can be used to find information very uh, closely. For example, um, a table might be like for the electrical code. It may be a table that have the gauges of wires um, and how many amps can be used based on the distance of the wire. So this table can organize that information so you can find it very quickly. Here's some reading tips. Avoid physical and audible distractions. In other words, that if you're going to read, try to be in a quiet space where you can be by yourself, where you're not distracted. Take notes or use highlighters and or bookmarks to highlight some of the things that is important for you to come back to go over again. Skim the table of contents to get an overview before you get started reading. Imagine yourself performing the task while you are reading the instructions. In other words, picture it in your head. That will help you understand it. And if you can't picture it, it's probably not very clear to you. Then, of course, you can do some other research. Find something that you can view, like a YouTube video that helped you to picture the task. Reread as necessary for clear understanding. Fonts, these are different type of fonts, and these are the bolden numbers are types of fonts, but actually the style, how it's written, is the font, what it looks like. So Times New Romans, um, that's how it looks. Um, so these are different types that you can use. And here's the reason why there's so many different fonts. A lot of times, some fonts are clearer to read than others. If you're reading in books, so people who actually like technical report writers and things, writing documents and things, they know what to use in documents to make it easier for people to understand. These are others again. All these are different types of fonts. How to write an important piece. Um, these steps are extremely important. Pre-write, just putting things down, making outlines, just writing some thoughts in your head, putting an ideal where you want to start and how you're going to finish it. Then you could go back and make a rough draft, start filling in the gaps. And while you doing a rough draft, you just, like I say, putting things as much as you can come up with, and maybe some other ideas may pop up while you're doing that. However, you don't stop there, and that's the problem. especially most guys, they would just stop there. I just wrote something and that leave it. But you come back to it and read it again, revise it, edit it, change it, and then you proofread it. Make sure things are spelled right, that all the commas and periods are there, that spaces is done correctly. And that way, when somebody read it, they will understand, because if you learn how to read a certain way, if it's not put together that way, somebody will stop and they will think through before trying to understand what has been said. So again, that is really important. Uh, this following this process of pre-writing, such as putting outline together, uh, putting a rough draft, filling in the gaps, revise and edit what you did. And a lot of good writers, they edit things, they rewrite their stuff over and over and over again until they get it just right. And then they will proofread it. Best time to proofread it when you um, took some time off and come back to it and look at it as if you never wrote it. And that way you can find your mistakes, because most people can't find their mistakes. Emails is one of the biggest issues, that we put it together quick and we don't check it like we should. Which is the following emails look more pleasant, um, is or better organized and friendlier, and most likely to leave a good impression on the potential client. Um, is it that one? Just take a look at it. You can read through it. Um, be honest with you, I'm going to show you the next one. You just read through it real quick, and if that makes sense to you. Then I'll talk about it too. This first one. Hopefully you picked out some things. A couple of things you picked out, at least you should have picked out. There's a lot of numbers here. Where you're putting numbers there, it's hard to remember those numbers and where it's located. And most people will be kind of confused and lost in the writing. Let's take a look at this one. This is the same information basically, but now you will be able to find things faster, clearer. You can skim through it and pretty much understand what is there compared to the first one. If I read the first one, I would have to stop, write some things down, highlight things, and try to dissect what was written. See this here, I can go through it pretty fast and understand what's there. They're using bullet points, they're highlighting things, making it bold, um, the topics and things. So it made it easier to skim through and find things. So again, like here, it's been bold. They put bullet points and they space it nicely so you can see the difference in it. Texting, again, most people don't text, especially when dealing with business. Take your time, because you may be dealing with other professionals that you're trying, and they're going to judge you based on how you communicate. So if you're going to communicate, do it right. Be sure this is the best choice for the need for the communication, because texting is too impersonal and there's too many things that can be lost. In other words, if you're texting, please don't use jargon like you do with your friends. Text clearly, be precise. Do not use text messaging to share potential emotional information such as apologies or criticism. Reason why? It is impersonal. They won't take it serious that if you have to apologize or you need, or if it's criticism. Be certain that the message is accurate. Be aware of potential autocorrect errors. Do not use shorthand or abbreviations such as laugh out loud, LOL, or IMHO when communicating with supervisors or strangers. Use language and complete sentences as you would in a proper email. Again, never send or read text messages while operating machinery or power tools or while working around on the job site. Go someplace quiet where you can focus on it. Alrighty, we got some questions here. An instructional document that contains information that a reader needs to know to carry out a task or a series of tasks is called a blank. An instructional document that contains information that a reader needs to know to carry out a task or series of tasks is called a textbook. A code book is not instructional at all. It's just plain information, knowledge. It don't tell you how to do anything. It doesn't tell you how to put anything together. It only tells you what that specific code is, the proper way that it needs to be installed, but it don't tell you how to install it. Work orders is just something that tell you that's something that need to be done. It's not instructional. A textbook, of course, that. Instructional manuals, um, it can possible do that, but a textbook is something that's used to teach. Instruction manuals might be just step by step how to assemble something, but it's not really give you everything that you need to know. It's not teaching you anything. It's expecting in instructional manuals, it expects you to know the subject. It expects you to know that things that you have learned. It just gives you step by step procedures to follow. The blank is located at the front of a book. That will be the table of contents. The index usually in the back, the glossary a lot of times in the back, and the appendix usually in the back of the book. What is the first step of the writing process? And that is pre-writing. That's where you just putting your thoughts together, putting outlines together. So it's pre-writing. All of these are characteristics of good writing except being blank. All of these are characteristics of good writing except being, of course, being clear is part of good writing. Concise has been part of good writing. Correct is good writing. The only one that is not part of good writing is complex. It shouldn't be complex. People should understand what you are writing and what you're trying to get across. So it's complex. Texting and email are the safest forms of communication. And if you believe that, well, email can be. Text messaging is probably the worst. Probably the worst. So the answer, again, texting and email are the safest form of communication. And let's talk about safety. Texting, driving, that's not safe. However, there's too many mistakes that can happen when texting. Even if you're in a quiet spot, you texting things they have autocorrect, or your thumbs are too fat one day and then it just hit the wrong button, and then all of a sudden you forget to put spaces in, and your person you're sending it to trying to figure out and wasting time trying to figure out what you're trying to say. So again, the answer is false.